How's it going, folks? Recording another best ball draft here. Doing my last entry into the Pomeranian. I did not max. This is not my 50th entry, but it's my 25th. Last one I'm going to do. Unfortunately, we got the 109, which, again, if you've watched my videos this year, is pretty much the only picks we got. 109 to 112. Can do some interesting things from the 109. I've often been taking AJ Brown over Puka. I kind of like getting so much AJ Brown that I don't really want to do that every time anymore. So I'll probably just take Puka in this draft, which is pretty unexciting. Maybe get lucky, have Marvin Harrison fall back to me in round 2. Probably won't happen, but does happen on occasion. There is an idea for something out of the 109 that I've had that I might consider trying, but it's loose. Let's just put it that way. I do like trying to move players around the board some, but I don't know. I think it would be a little bit too extreme to try this with this one idea I have. So my last draft, I did a where I did pull some players, ended up working out, so that was nice. Let me see if I can pull up that team, show you what I'm talking about. So we had the 109 in this draft as well. I ended up going Puka. Then we picked Nico and Tank Dell, pulling them each up a little bit. Pulled up Mark Andrews almost around. That way we could get a full game stack for week 17 with Houston, 2 pass catchers, and Mark Andrews. So that was kind of a cool thing where you didn't really feel like you're giving up that much value. Like Nico's in that range. Tank Dell is probably like a half a tier out of where you're picking him. Andrews probably worth more than where you're picking, even though you're picking him pretty high. And then got Stroud to fall back, which was lucky. There's just no more. Brees and Bijan after pick 8 is gone. That's not a thing anymore. It was fun while it lasted, and I haven't seen either of them past pick 8 very much. And when they do, I have the pick that is the one after where they get picked. Got my red badge finally, so that's pretty neat. Would like it if Marvin Harrison falls back to us, but don't really expect that to happen. Our options are pretty mediocre. Building out of the 9 slot with Puka is pretty crappy. I'm not gonna lie. I just don't want to get too much AJ Brown, and I'm getting a lot of AJ Brown. Someone pulled the Chris Olave up. They might be doing the Olave Devontae Adams Week 17 game stack. I did that one myself out of the 12 slot, and I must say I hated my team. I really, really did not like my team. Thinking in my head, I might want Jonathan Taylor or a wide receiver. I mean, obviously, I'd take Gibbs if he falls that far, but that doesn't seem that likely. Love to get Gibbs or Harrison, but I know the way these drafts have been going lately that's probably not going to happen. So I think this is the guy who took Olave, so we'll see if he takes Adams to do the Week 17 thing, or if he was just randomly taking Olave at pick 11. Does take Adams, so that's sweet. We are going to get one of Gibbs or Marv. It's awesome. Don't really care too much which one I get. So got our Week 17 correlation with Marv and Puka. There's some tiny chance that Kyron Williams falls back to our spot in round 3. It's happened a few times. Definitely don't expect it to happen, but We'll probably try to build up a Kyler stack here, go with another wide receiver in round 3. Probably preferably not Cooper Cup, even though I think Cooper Cup's a fine pick. Just I'm gonna try to take Trey McBride in round 4, and I don't want to have all 4 position players be from the same game stack, rounds 1 through 4. I don't mind 3. 4 is a little bit pushing it. The only way I would do it with 4 is if Kyron falls all the way back to us, then I'll have to consider what to do in round 4. I might lean towards wide receiver then and go away from Trey McBride. But like I said, I don't think it's very likely that Kyron falls to us anyway. So I tried to do this for the week 17 correlation. I did it out of spot 12. My team ended up horrible. Just horrible. It's one of the only teams I didn't even post it on Twitter. It was bad. I was trying to do way too many fancy things, and yeah. I do have interest in like one of these spots to try to go 2 wide receivers and then like Kelsey Mahomes and one of Worthy or Hollywood, get a Chiefs thing going. So I just don't get much Chiefs. I do get Kelsey a lot because I just randomly pick Kelsey, but I'm not getting Mahomes at all. And I pick Worthy some, Hollywood almost never. Rashee Rice I pick a pretty decent amount. I do think of the round 2 picks that Jonathan Taylor just seems like he's got a little bit more ceiling than the rest of the folks in round 2. So I like taking Jonathan Taylor, but I don't take a ton of him. Very likely we'll be taking, yeah, there goes Kyron, so that's dead. So we're probably just going to be looking to take a wide receiver, preferably that isn't Cooper Cup, and kind of going from there. Cooper Cup goes, so that makes it that easy. Let's probably take one of Smith, Pittman, DK. Could take Sam Laporta. Wouldn't hate it. I have so much Marvin Harrison already that's all tied to McBride. Like probably I don't know, half my Marvin Harrison teams have McBride on them, so wouldn't be a disaster to take Laporta. Try to build that team a little different. Problem is, like, what wide receiver are we taking the next round then? Yeah, let's take. Without Kyler. Okay, you're gonna take Pittman. There's a lot to think about with that pick. It was not one of the easier picks to make. It's just a lot of options. Like, I have so much Marvin Harrison that's with Kyler that maybe I'm going to just make the Puka Harrison combo skinny here and see if I can get Anthony Richardson around 5 and sort of build out that way instead of from Kyler. Other options are go with Kelsey. I don't have much Kelsey with Marvin Harrison either because I'm like always taking McBride. So that's interesting to me. I like Tank Dell a lot. I have him above all these other players, so getting Tank Dell would be cool. Basically, the only thing we don't want to happen is have it be Dell and Laporta, these 2 picks, which looks like what's happening to us. So, now we're going to be in another like really tough spot. Oh my god. Okay. Well, in this case, since we know we're going to at least attempt to go with Anthony Richardson, we will snap take Laporta there. That's awesome. That is awesome. It's even pretty easy to build up a Goff thing from this slot. The only problem is like you don't really get any 49ers, but you can get like Slick Rick at like pick 136, but he's like goes in the 140s, but sometimes he also like falls way later. But anyway, getting Laporta here, you can usually get JMO at pick 88, which is something that may or may not interest us. If we do want to do the JMO at 88, I kind of like the idea of taking a running back in round 6. But I don't know. We'll see if Anthony Richardson makes it to us. That's sort of will define the rest of this draft. So I really like to have 4 wide receivers in the first 7 rounds. Like, if you don't have 4 wide receivers in the first 7 rounds, you're kind of in trouble. I have done it a few times where I didn't, but never really cared for my team much when that happened. So we got the 2 slot that's building out a 0 RB build. Will probably be a 0 RB build. The 0 RB builds are getting a little more difficult to build these days than they used to. The teams in the 11 and 12 both look a little suspect to me. I might have reached for Kincaid if I was going to take Josh Allen there. I don't like that Josh Allen doesn't like correlate to like, doesn't have Garrett Wilson. He doesn't have Brees. So, I mean, I don't know. The team just doesn't look that strong to me as far as correlations go. So we're basically hoping that Anthony Richardson makes it to our pick. If not, then we'll probably push and go for, see if we can get Kyler in around 7. Which means I might consider a running back if we end with one of our 2 picks. If we do not get Erich. Is there any big value on the board right now? Wow, Kincaid and Andrews are falling. Stroud as well. That's the one bonus to like the way this guy built it. Sometimes like you get these random crazy falls and you can get Kincaid at this value, which is like awesome. Then you don't feel like you're getting rugged. If Anthony Richardson goes, I guess we could take Jaden Reed. That doesn't super appeal to me. Definitely don't want Rashad White. Okay. Well, Anthony Richardson made it to us, so. In the past, I have done some, Anthony Richardson with Kyler teams, but like the market was way different then. I just don't think that's something I'm interested in doing anymore. Like, Kyler was cheaper then, and like all the 0 running back guys that are good picks were cheaper then. So it was just way easier to build. Now it's gotten quite difficult. There's no way we're taking a running back with our pick. There's no way we're picking a tight end. Like, I would consider a running back with this pick, but not with Ken Walker and Rashad White having gone. It would have had to be one of those 2. Probably going to take our 4th wide receiver. Who will that be? Don't have anyone that correlates with anything. The only real correlation thing we have is Kittle to go with Laporta, and I don't really like that. Could take Jordan Addison. There's a lot of good picks or Green Bay picks later. I don't really want Worthy right now with this hamstring thing that he's got going on. Rome also has a hamstring thing, but I think Rome is just in general a better. I like Rome better than Worthy. I think the easiest guy to build from is Addison, but do I care about that right now? Yeah, I might end up wanting to do some Green Bay stuff. So yeah, I like Addison. He's a guy I'm starting to get some more of. I like the game environment for Week 17 for the Packers and Minnesota. In Minnesota, one of the dome games. Then you got the Rams in Arizona, which weather should not be a problem for. So Colts are outdoors against in New York versus the Giants. That one's rough. Been considering maybe trying to go to that game, but it's too late in the season. I really want to see the Colts play. Anthony Richardson is just such a baller. Probably my favorite player in the league right now. So pretty interesting start to this one. Could look to grab Devin Singletary with one of our two picks, as he is a Week 17 correlation with our Colts. Sorry, Devin Singletary would be with one of these two picks, 105 or 112. I think he goes like 111 usually, something like that. 108. So, yeah, if he's there at 105, we'll probably snatch up Devin Singletary. So we should go either two running backs or maybe running back and wide receiver. Pretty much the key is getting four wide receivers in your first 7 rounds. Like I don't mind 1, 1, 1, and 4 or whatever other iteration you want of these others. Just make sure you have this four. I've actually found I don't even love it that much when I end up with five wide receivers, which is weird. So like obviously I love it when I'm doing it, but like the times I end up with five wide receivers are when I know I can push a specific position. Like it's already tough with running back. So like it's usually when I'm going to push quarterback that I like having five early wide receivers. Uh, and then I'm usually getting like a Jaden Daniels or Brock Purdy or Jordan Love. A quarterback that still has a ton of upsides is a little cheaper, Caleb Williams. But when you paid up for like the premiums, just feel like you're starting to get squeezed. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna take George Kittle if he's there at pick 81. 81, I do not care. I will take the lame correlation of double elite tight end in the same game. If you're going to give him to me 15 picks past ADP, but I assume this guy will take him. Then we got to decide if we want Evan Ingram, which I don't think we really do. Could go with one of the running backs. Might lean towards Zamir White this time. Go Stevenson. Do we want? I don't think we want Evan Ingram. I'm definitely taking George Kittle if he's there, but okay, thank God. Let's just take Zamir. Another dumb game. Saints defense is kind of whatever. Could take JSN, I guess. Don't really hate that either. Thing is, like, I don't even know that JSN is that much better of a pick than Jameson Williams, and Jameson Williams correlates. So let's just take Zamir White and then see what comes back to us. If I would have taken JSN, I would have been kind of hoping Swift fell back to us, and then kind of unhappy if he didn't. Got my eye on Jameson Williams, Brooks. Evan Ingram if they're going to give him to us the billion picks past ADP. This George Kittle value was nuts. I mean, just absolutely nuts. Yeah, this guy's team is friggin' pimp. Hopefully one of these two guys takes Evan Ingram so that we don't have to think about that. The running backs on the board, I like Jonathan Brooks and Zach Moss the most. Just nobody taking any of these tight ends. What's going on? Huh. Huh. I think it's wrong for us to take the ADP value here. Don't love the way that this draft has come together. Us getting that like super value on Laporta kind of ended up being a bad thing. This guy just got Kittle and Ingram at like picks a million. This guy's team is insane. Absolutely insane. As with most drafts, I really wish I was one spot ahead of where I am. Just seems to be the way it goes. Pretty unfortunate. I just don't like taking Evan Ingram, even with the extreme ADP value, when you have Laporta, who basically is just like a better version of Evan Ingram. Like, at least with Kittle, you're getting like spike weeks that are just outrageous, where, you know, he can definitely like way outscore Laporta in a week. It's a little bit harder for Evan Ingram to do that with the way he scores his points. They're not like the big plays down the field, you know. He's a guy getting 100 catches for whatever, 900 yards or whatever he got. And Kittle's getting 60 for 1,000 because he makes so many big plays. The good news with the situation that we've put ourselves in is we've given ourselves a really good chance to be lucky, right? So if we take two running backs here, here, we have 4 running backs, and then we have 2 shots at a couple wide receivers I really, really like that correlate, which is Downs and Wicks. So I might try to leave those 2 spots open for those guys. We know we want Devin Singletary if we can get him. Which means I would rather not get Trey Benson just because I'll already have 2 by week 11 running backs. Well, it's not like a huge deal to me. I do minorly care about it. Pretty interested in Brock Bowers if he falls, as I always am. Can we pass the tight end value yet again? I think it's probably right to do it. We'll just throw him right in the lap of these guys behind us that need a tight end. Devin Singletary goes, so now you guys are fucked. Now you guys are fucked. Sorry. You were going to get your falling Brock Bowers until that happened. So obviously we're all done at tight end. We're going to grab 1 running back, and then we're going to hope to be able to attack that group of wide receivers next round. One thing we could do to kind of like put less pressure on that is if we wanted to take Romeo Doubs right now, since he correlates with Addison, and that way you don't have to worry about if Wicks drops 2 or not, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Although, we're down to me only really liking 2 running backs that are left on the board. Could reach for Adonai Mitchell and get my correlation with Anthony Richardson. Don't love that, having just taken Brock Bowers. Definitely won't want to lose 2 picks to be a running back. Okay. Definitely taking a running back now that we are pretty safe, because I will either take Brian Robinson or Gus Edwards and be pretty happy. I like Spears and Chase Brown as well. I'll take Brian Robinson. I prefer him to Gus. I expect Brock Bowers to score his points kind of in bunches as well, because I kind of, the way I see Brock Bowers playing out is when they have a mismatch with him that the other team can't deal with, he's probably going to get fed. And when that's less the case, then he probably won't get fed as much. So going back to this team here, we ended up with a pretty nice 0 RB build. We got Benson that correlated with the Stafford Puka stuff. I don't mind Colby Parkinson in the last round when I have Stafford. Didn't end up doing it here, but that's one to keep an eye on. I did do Demarcus Robinson a little bit later in the draft, which was all right. So I was pretty happy about how this team came together with us, pulling Collins up a bit, Dell up a bit, Andrews up a bit. That way we could smush all 3 of them in front of Stroud. Then got lucky, obviously, with Stroud not going to the Diggs guy. The Diggs guy actually ended up taking Lamar Jackson, which was fine. He was getting the correlation that way and building a different type of Lamar team with no Flowers or Andrews. This draft we could have waited for Levis, but being that I had Puka and Blake Corum, I decided to go ahead and grab a Stafford share, not somebody I get a ton of. Not too sure what we're going to be trying to do for QB2. I guess Stafford would be reasonable for this team. I'd like to at least get one of these 2 players. If we miss both, I guess Leggett is the next guy that I like. Those 3 seem like a little mini tier that's just awesome picks in the middle round here. I expect that they'll move up at some point, but they haven't really moved that up that much so far. I prefer all of 3 of those guys, these 2 and Leggett to Josh Palmer, Jacoby Myers, Jerry Jeudy, some of these other guys that have gone off the board. Not AD Mitchell. But let's go look. So who do I prefer that group of 3 over? From to the ones that we just said, Josh Palmer. I prefer them to Dubs. I prefer them to Shakir. I guess not that many people would go ahead of him, but a few. Jacoby Myers was atrocious last year with Aiden O'Connell, so that's something to keep an eye out for. I am not in the habit of drafting Nick Chubb. Goff's falling back to us when we have Laporta, but I'm just not very interested in taking a quarterback right now. We have J.J. McCarthy as an out. Not the most exciting out. Here's the tough question. Do I want to take the correlated guy first or the guy who's less likely to come back to me? I'm going to take the guy who's less likely to come back to me, which is Dontavian Wicks. I'd be fine tie-breaking towards Josh Downs. Just I have been able to get Downs a lot with A-Rich, so if I whiff on this particular one, then that's fine. Not the biggest of deals. Not too much at running back that interests me. I guess I'd probably take Leggett if Downs goes. I like these guys more than Cooks and Dotson, Gabe Davis, Jacoby, like I said. Dowdle's a little interesting to me at running back. I like Charbonnet a good bit. I like Charbonnet. I find I'm just not getting into that game stack very much. I'm not really sure why. It's not like I don't take DJ Moore or DK Metcalf. Like I take both of them. I'm very much pushing my ownership on rostership on Anthony Richardson, Jaden Daniels, and Kyler Murray. Those are like the three quarterbacks I really want. They seem the most mispriced out of this group. Maybe mispriced is the wrong word, but definitely having an upside that is quite good for their price. We're going to take Downs or Leggett here. Happy to get Downs. I do think that that was the right way to play it, getting the Wicks correlation with Addison. Probably only going to take one more wide receiver, which is something to keep in mind. The reason why that's somewhat relevant to us is like it means it's going to be really hard for us to build like anything backdoor with a quarterback. So basically, we have like JJ McCarthy that goes with Addison. Then we have a whole lot of not real options. There's always the option of going. We miss Giants, right? And we do kind of want a Giant to come back on our main stack with Anthony Richardson. So I generally don't like having two quarterbacks in the same week 17 game unless I like go crazy stacking that game. So like I don't mind it if I have tons and tons of, like if that game, the whole game is like a huge stack for me. But if it's like a couple guys and a comeback, I don't want the comebacks quarterback that often because like then if the game environment is shitty, like say there's a snowstorm in New York, it's really hard for like, uh, Daniel Jones to go off then, like, and save you from maybe a bad Anthony Richardson week. So I don't like get caught up in it, Like I will take two quarterbacks with the same week 17 game. But like if I can easily avoid it, then like I don't. There's no reason for me to worry about it. There's no reason for me to do it if it's easily avoidable. There is just nothing at quarterback for a long, long time. Leggett finally went. Javon Baker, well, May has the same bye week as Anthony Richardson, so that's not a very good fit. I'm loving the top of this queue as far as players available, but we're still 7 picks away, so that could be a problem. Could end up with Ty Chandler. That would be nice. Start to build out that JJ McCarthy bet a little bit more, but good chance he goes before a pick. Let's pop this out a little bit. Take a look at some of these other teams, see what they got going on. Jaden Daniels and Herbert out of the one hole. I like that. Terry McLaurin and Conklin. This guy's team seems quite reasonable. Pretty good. I liked it up until like this portion. Hate Quentin Johnson as a pick. Darnell Mooney was like okay, but not exciting. Kendra goes. That was one of the people I really wanted. I'm a huge Kendra fan. I guess we're just hoping Ty Chandler makes it to us. Could take Pearsall to go. All right, I'll take Ty Chandler. Certainly a guy that could catch a pass from JJ McCarthy and score a touchdown in week 17. So it feels like we're kind of don't have a lot of great options if we don't get JJ McCarthy. So He's pick 87. So probably look at him with one of these two picks. Justin Jefferson guy is on the other side of us, right? Yeah, obviously. So the Justin Jefferson guy might cut him off. Here's Jordan Love. So we'll see what happens. There wouldn't really be any reason for us to take him this early. Nothing really standing out to me as any sort of great value or anything on this board, or even really all that interesting to me. Take Kamani Vidal. It's kind of not my favorite pick. Sure. No great analysis for that pick. It just seemed like a reasonable pick at cost, but I have been starting to get some J.K. Dobbins, who I obviously despise as a pick, but his cost is. I mean, I finally been able to get him in around 17, where I don't mind it. I'm just trying to throw as much shit at the fucking board as I can with this Chargers backfield and hope someone sticks, because I have a good bit of Gus, good bit of Vidal. Don't have much Dobbins, but at least now I have some. So if by some miracle it ends up being him after an Achilles injury, which just doesn't seem like it would be. We could still get our boy Evan Hull, who's a correlation with our quarterback. So might have some interest in that. Some picks I think are better. There's some picks in round 17 and 18 for running back right now that I really like. Really like. I'd like to get Wandell as our last wide receiver. Decent chance he goes before our pick, though. That would open the door to Daniel Jones if we get sniped on McCarthy. Like I said, I would prefer not to have the same Week 17 game with both quarterbacks, but it's not like I'm just not going to take somebody because of it. Just one of those things where if I can avoid it, I would like to avoid it, but it's not a huge deal. Might go with A.T. Perry as our last wide receiver if we don't get Wandell, or maybe one of Slayton or Hyatt. We do have Bowers and Zamir that correlate with A.T. Perry. Assuming that J.J. McCarthy makes it past the Justin Jefferson person, which definitely no guarantee that he does. But if he does make it past that person, there's really no reason that any of these people should take him. This guy has Hurts and Kyler. This guy has Stroud and Josh Allen. This guy has Trevor and Goff. I think this is a really poor way to build your elite QB teams. You just don't want to build with two of them. It's too much strain on the rest of your roster. There's so many dead points. They're just going into the abyss because you're getting 22 points instead of 20 or whatever. Let's see how the rest of their rosters look. I mean, if this guy's tight ends work out, then this roster isn't too bad. What about the other one? The other guy's pretty decent trouble at wide receiver. It's not 5 alarm, but it's up there. He at least has Kelsey at tight end, though. Yeah, their teams don't look as bad as I kind of thought that they would. I must admit that. What are we doing if we don't get Wandell? I was just peering at Bucky Irving as he went. The pressure would really be off here if we get Wandell. It's now there's not too many paths to really bad things happening to us. And we've gotten our week 17 correlation with our Colt stuff. I think we'll just stop at the 7 wide receivers. This is a pretty good group of 7. Even though we stopped with 4 early, still getting like Wicks, Downs, and Robinson. Man, that's nice. There's still Javon Baker, who I really like down here as a pick. There's just always a lot of good options. Did that guy take JJ McCarthy? He did not. So if he makes it back to us, we'll be doing that. Some friggin' great values on the board for quarterbacks. But I don't know. JJ McCarthy seems reasonably close to as good as any of these guys and correlates. So Baker Mayfield's probably a tier above the rest of these guys. I actually have Will Levis ranked the highest of all of them, but I have him at 25%. So I don't mind not picking him for a draft or two. He might be up more than 25% since I just did a whole bunch of these Poms. This is my 25th Pom. Like I said, this is the last one I'm going to do. So next video I do, we'll be back to Best Ball Mania. Unless we get some sort of new contest. Baker finally goes. Take JJ McCarthy. And we're down to running backs. So, yeah, Roshan's was going to be on my list of running backs I like late. Eli Mitchell, Donta Foreman, Herbert. So, like, a lot of these guys you can usually get in around 17 or 18. But it seems like everyone in this draft happens to like the same people that I like. Which is a bit of a problem for us, but let's see what we can do. What do we got for correlating type stuff? Green Bay stuff? Nope. Giants? Nope. We do have Evan Hull himself. That's an option. Tampa Bay? Nope. Atlanta? Nope. Green Bay? Nope. Patriots? Nope. Nope. San Francisco, I guess. What's his face? Did he go? No. These are options that correlate. So I guess we could decide maybe to go against correlation. If we really like any of these other players. I do like Clyde Edwards-Helaire quite a bit, but I also have taken him a decent amount. I don't get much Correndo and Eli Mitchell. Audric Estime I like quite a bit. His upside. I think there's a chance that he can just like work into the 2-down role. Maybe even beat out Javonte during the season, like push him back. But he also could like not even make the team. Evan Hull, we know, is at least making the team. Estime will probably make the team, but he's not a 100% lock. Very strange the way the running backs went in this room. Pretty into the Evan Hull pick. Correndo, I'm still deciding if I want. I think Correndo is probably just be Clyde. There's also Braylon Allen, who has a lot of upside, but it's another guy that could manage to not even make the team. I don't know what the hell the Jets were doing in the draft. They just drafted like 2 running backs when they needed 0. So one would have made some amount of sense, but the other one was just a ridiculous pick. All right, let's take Evan Hall because we know we want him. Clyde goes. Jawar Jordan's a guy I've taken a few shots on. I took one share of Trey Sermon in this time box contest. Just in an unlikely event that he beats out Evan Hull for the 2 role for the Colts. I don't think anyone else will even have a share in this contest, so I wanted to just get one in there. I guess I'm going to take Garendo because none of these picks are any good, and he correlates, so. Do I say I'm good enough at running back and just go with a wide receiver? It's close between him and Jalen McMillan. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Just think McMillan's more likely to score a bunch of points for us in week 17 than him. We had some correlation with Jonathan Brooks here, so I just don't like this Garendo pick very much. I think he just ends up being a special team player. This person took Jordan Mason over Garendo, so apparently they agree with me. I think this group of 6 running backs is fine because, like, Ty Chandler's probably going to get some amount of touches every game. Kamani Vidal, obviously, you're placing a big bet on this guy to, like, actually compete for the starting job, which he may not really. And then Evan Hall should at least have a pass catching role on this Colts offense, but like he might end up just kind of being in the same role whether Jonathan Taylor's hurt or not. Like his role would increase obviously, but if Sermon was the actual 2, then they could end up splitting. So our running back room is dicey a bit. So QBs, great. Anthony Richardson easily could be the number 1 player in all of fantasy. Running backs, little dicey. We're going to need like Jonathan Brooks or Vidal to work out probably for this room to work. Like we're going to need Brooks to either be pretty decent pretty quickly or Vidal to somehow get a decent sized role in this Chargers offense. Our wide receivers are really fucking good. Really, really good. We have a ton of correlation. We even snuck in a little correlation with this last minute change of mind to Jalen McMillan. And obviously our tight ends are absolutely batshit bonkers. We have the best tight end and then what might be the second best tight end, but obviously a long way to go for Bowers. He's certainly not the second best tight end today, but wouldn't shock me if that's how it turns out. Well, thanks for watching and good luck in your drafts, folks.